Okay, welcome back to the bunker for another episode of Authortube. So, we're going to talk about the back synopsis, right? Because you're going to hear mostly every writer out there saying, basically, I could write 80,000 words, but I cannot write my synopsis in 250 to 300 words or so, right? I'm like, one, you can, but we'll get into why you can in a moment, okay? The problem is, as a starting point, you're overthinking. What you're doing is you're looking at your 80,000 or 100,000 word book and going, how could I distill all that down into a tiny piece of text? Well, you can't. It's impossible. That's no different than having a giant pot of stew loaded with all sorts of, potatoes, meat, carrots, whatever, broth, etc., and then taking a tiny little piece of each ingredient, putting it on a spoon, and expecting it to taste exactly the same as a full spoonful of your stew. It's not going to happen, right? It's going to taste completely different. It'll taste good, sure, but it's not going to be the same. Okay, so you have to get that part out of your head. You're not going to be able to have the flavor of your entire 80,000 words into those 300 or so words, right? Okay, so stop overthinking. That's step one. Well, technically step zero. Okay, step one though, now to break the cover synopsis down, it's literally three simple parts, three simple sections, okay? And it's like this, and I'll explain why there's this whole thing of not being able to do it is ironic in a moment. Okay, so here it is. Step one, your hook. Okay, that's your first line on the back. Gets the reader's attention. It could be a question, it could be an intriguing statement, it could be a drop right into the middle of an action point, whatever it might be, but it's a hook. It's something to grab interest, something that the person goes, oh, that was interesting, I need to read the next line. That's what you want, right? Is that original hook. That's step one. Two, that is your actual synopsis, right? And of course, then you're like, oh yeah, well then how do I take my 80,000 words and bring it down to, a short little paragraph? Well, here's how you do it. You look at your story and you simply say, okay, out of all the things that have happened in my tale, out of all the plots, the subplots, etc., and that goes on, the characters and every other character that I've introduced, the issue is, what is the main plot? What is the main problem? What is it really about? Because obviously there was clearly a plot point in your head when you started the story, the main conflict that got the whole thing going, which then spawned all this other stuff. So in the end, what is your main problem in the story? What is the main issue? What is the main thing about? That is your little middle part there. That's how you distill it down. Forget about the subplots and just what is the main issue, and maybe what is the main characters involved, the two or three main people, for example. Okay, that's your middle part. And then the third part, again, is brief, and it's simply your cliffhanger, right? It's a statement, potentially a question, but it's a cliffhanger. But the trick is it cannot be a cliched cliffhanger. For example, say it's a romance novel, right? You got your little hook, you got your little story about, say, Bob and Mary, and then at the end you put something dumb like, will Bob and Mary fall in love in time before their families drive them apart? Or something like dumb like that, right? Or like it's a spaceship story, and like in the end, will they escape the I don't know what, the scavenger alive in time before the aliens get them? Like those are all cliched type lines. Don't do that. Come up with something unique. It can be done, right? So come up with a unique cliffhanger, a unique statement, or a unique question that is not cliche, that is not commonly heard, but at the same time makes the reader go, that is a good question. That is a good I need to find out more. You know what? I need to read this story because I need to understand how this cliffhanging thing is going to get resolved, right? So that's all it is. It's three things: hook, main problem, cliffhanger. Done. It's that simple. Yes, your main second section, the main plot, that it might take a couple revisions, to get it down to worded correctly, but in the end, that's what it's about. And that's how you take your 80 to 100,000 words and boil it all down to something that fits on a back cover. right? Now, I'm going to read this one. This is from Authortube. I'm not saying it's 100% perfect, okay? I'm not going to claim that I know how to write synopses perfectly, but you'll see that it contains those 3 elements, okay? Here it is. She came back into his life only to die on him. This transmission is a record of life in a dead city. Hook. Now we go synopsis. Marty loves Selena, maybe too much, but after their breakup, everything went to hell, including the world around them. Now, alone in a zombie-infested city, Marty must come to terms with what's happened both to his heart and to the world around him. The journal begins and is transmitted to you while he deals with the past, the present, even the future, including the woman who tore his heart out and has come back into his life again, except she keeps dying on him and returning from the dead. Now, the cliffhanger. Is he slipping? Have too many nights with the bottle messed with his brain? Or is Marty simply falling apart because the world has died? Hope, loss, pain, the undead. Welcome to Zomtropolis. So, that being said, I'm hoping that I got you with the hook. I hope the story portion, the second part, sounded intriguing. And then lastly, the final statements, I hope that was enough of a cliffhanger to potentially get you interested, right? Now, zombies may or may not be up your alley, but it's just an illustration to prove the point. So, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but what I am saying is break it down, stop overthinking, 3 steps. One more time, hook, main problem, cliffhanger, non-cliched. Follow that formula, and I assure you that writing your synopsis will become easier over time and with a little bit of practice. Okay? Good. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with any other author who might be struggling with the same issue. Tell them about the 3 points. That might help them. It could help you. Helps everybody. And we're all in this together, right? Writers? Right? Link arms? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. See you next video.